and welcome to an absolutely god-awful idea. So, we're going to be going through LUCT. This is going to be vanilla LUCT. We're not doing one vision today. But yeah, we're going to be going through this at level 1. Is this a good idea? No. This is an absolutely terrible idea, but from what I've tested, I think this run should be possible. Now, already got names picked out for the unit and for the unit and for the team. Gonna have Gordon here because we need King of the Impossible, obviously. I would put the entire name, but you know, if you put Flash, then it sounds like you're talking about the other Flash. But whatever, he's gonna be Gordon. And it's the 6th today, so that's when we'll be starting. Now, if you're wondering, the first question that comes to mind here probably would be, how is a level 1 run even possible? We'll get to that. So, as far as the starting stats go, typically for vanilla, the start is usually like Dex all the way. Dex will give you the most damage per stat point. Will also give you the most accuracy. Now, if you pick all the questions that make you sound like a complete just dickhead, that's gonna make your character all strong like. Which, yeah, strength weapons are not even what we're gonna be using. But the interesting part is, and also I don't know why it always asks this. For some reason, it really assumes Denim's into cheating, I guess. But yeah, if you pick that one, you get strength. Now, it sounds like strength would be a bit of a dump there, you know. But here's the thing: strength gives you a moderate increase to your damage, but still increases your defense as well. Which basically that'll scale down damage, at least for the time that we need it here. What do you want at your side? I believe it was family here. And then bring these guys before us. But it's just like basically anything you'd hear on Fox as the answers. That's going to be the ones that give you the strength points. But yeah, any dang ways. So first off, how is this run even possible? Because technically speaking, I've tried routing this out to just do it normally. Right? I've tried just routing it out to just play it through the game normally, do like a minimum level kind of run, but no, we're running a no experience whatsoever cheat here. So just none whatsoever. If you want to try this out for yourself, the cheat's actually on the One Vision Guide website. So just nichegames.com. Which, actually, come to think of it, I forget if I forget if it's redirecting properly. I needed to fix that properly. Just Google Tactics Ogre One Vision Guide. It's the first thing that comes up on Google. Anywho, so yeah, the usual start here. You know, what do we gain from taking their lives? Which clearly the answer is experience. But we're just gonna go ahead and run away. This part doesn't matter. What's funny is you can actually kill them off the intro. Like if you use cheats to kill off every character here. Despite it saying that killing off lands is actually the goal here, killing him off does not end the fight, but beating everything on the map does. And then you just basically spawn on top of Farampa, and that's about it. So like, would you like help with your suicide thing? It's like, oh, I guess we would. I don't know what we were thinking trying to pull this off otherwise. Alright. Let's go ahead and save it real quick here. Yes, we got a lot of saves. Such things happen. Whew, what is that? Something just started to smell real bad off in the background here. So I will be right back. Just a sec. Alrighty, and I'm back. Yeah, I have no idea what my dog got into, but oh man, that was some stank going on. Alright. So intro is fairly standard. Obviously it'd be level 1 here anyway. Nothing too spectacular. Now, if you've never, well, I guess for most folks that have played this, you might be wondering again, how the hell would a level 1 run even work? Like you basically have you've got nothing to work with, and that's true. That's exactly the point. Now, like I said, there's a no experience cheat. It's the only way I could figure out to actually keep the level down. I tried routing it out. I tried every combination of killing off enemies in this one. I tried. Essentially tried a bunch of different scenarios in which, you know, would essentially just use one class per each fight. And unfortunately, there's no real way to make that work. Even if you have the absolute minimum experience, you're still going to wind up at like 5. So it doesn't matter that much. I'm just attacking them for the hell of it. We're there to get the thread. Do we need the thread for anything? No, it's just there. You know, sometimes it's an MP leaf, sometimes it's thread. We don't really need either one, to be honest. Since we're never really going to be a caster. There will be some casting options later on, but we're not really going to be relying on that very much. Like I said, it's just a few little opportunities where some certain things could potentially be useful if things have extraordinarily low defenses under certain circumstances. But yeah, so the way that the stats work on this, there's essentially 2 different stats and 2 different thresholds that things have to meet in order to do damage at any particular situation. So this is probably a pretty... Oh, hang on. So anyways, yeah, there's 2 different sets of stats. Essentially, your combined stats are what's going to be affecting you most of the time. So your base stats is just going to be what each individual unit has. They max out at 100 each, and then your actual class stats, which can go a bit beyond 100 there. Point being, though, even at 50, like even if you got all the way to 50, well, you'd never get that equivalent stat level 1. The highest you can get is the equivalent of maybe a 20 if you max everything out completely. So yeah, considering that the end stuff is a good bit beyond that, considering that the actual main mechanic for raising your stats is well, it's currently a bit locked away. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Also, interesting little side note here. A lot of the units on the attacking team here, especially the ones that can one-shot you, don't tend to come with counterattack. Simply because in the original, you could have made the mistake of trying to hit your own guys for experience and just gotten instantly killed. So there's that. It does make a little bit more sense, but this is a little bit more beginner-friendly, I suppose. Alright, and back. Seems it's, might have picked the wrong morning to do this kind of thing, but let's see what we can get done. Alright. At any rate, I'm pretty sure any folks that have stuck around with this game for any length of time might know the strat I'm going for here. I will say I've tried a lot of different options as far as this goes. I've routed out a good majority of the weapons to try to figure out what can work there. And it's honestly the results are a bit different than expected. See, originally the plan was to go spears, bows, crossbows. Just because even though crossbows are going to be the biggest damage one, basically Death Whale is about the strongest thing. Like, as far as finishers go, it is hands down the strongest thing you can do at level 1. Simply because if it's not just stats. Like, when it comes to level 1, your equipment is locked just to the stuff at the very start. There's almost nothing you can get, and actually, we're going to be going well out of the way to go get the only other equipment that you can use at level 1 towards the end of the game. Kind of an interesting thing that when I went and tested the numbers, a maxed out level 1 can actually beat the last boss, but quite frankly, they don't have the durability to be able to do so. I tested out a lot of different strategies for pulling off that fight, but they kinda needed a little bit more help. So yes, this will be an aggressively grind-heavy run. There will be a lot of getting any ranks up where we can, but again, we're essentially squeezing water from a stone. This is going to be like, as far as vanilla LUCT goes, this is going to be about as far as you can push things. I'm fairly certain. Because, I mean, the joke has been coming in for years, like, oh, just go beat it with a throwing rock, go beat it with a throwing rock. Yeah, beating it with a throwing rock is easier than this. Because, quite frankly, throwing rock run, all it involves is just put anatomy on everyone, and then just kind of cheese over leveling. And you're usually doing about, like, 50 per throwing rock, and then just right at the very end, you have to go switch that anatomy for demonology, and then you use that. Now, demonology would have been the answer to this one as well, because a level 1 character with demonology can hit like 400 on the last boss if you do it right. Funny part about that, though, you can't get demonology as a level 1. You can't actually get any racial skills as a level 1, at least not naturally. So I'm going to be further restricting this challenge by limiting it to generic units only, so I can hire special units and I can scavenge their skills, but I can't actually use them. Does that make it unnecessarily difficult? Sure. I mean, basically all it does is make them slightly slower and make the roster a little bit less fleshed out. I mean, should I do that limitation? Like, I've been going back and forth, because truth be told, as far as the actual challenge goes, it doesn't change much. Like, it'll save a little bit of grinding, it'll save a little bit of time, but, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I will say that Canopus is banned. Just because his ability to fly does cheese most of the game, so you can't really do a lot of the neat tricks. Because it basically boils down to pick up Canopus, put him next to leader, use Death Whale. Which, I mean, that's fun. Don't get me wrong, I love using flying units, but, you know, can't show off some of the other crazy stuff. And hi there, Chrysotep. How's it going? So I probably should have put it as level 1, no special characters then. I mean, to be honest, most of them are going to get killed off anyway. Like I said, level 1s can't actually pick up any skills aside from weapon skills, the basic elemental options, and in some cases, a few extra things, like, you know, say Field Alchemy 1, which, if the Archer wasn't just overpowered in every stage of the game enough, I was kind of surprised to find out that they're the only one that starts with Field Alchemy 1. Why? Who knows? I mean, they get every other possible advantage. Literally, their only limitation is one less tile of movement, but they start off with Field Alch 1 for some reason, and you can just transfer that over to everybody else. Couldn't tell you why, but they're the only one with it as a starting ability. So that does give us our best healing option right off the bat, best cheapest healing option. Now I will say, the plan for this run is, let's see, this is not Ghosts and Goblins. Hell no, it's not. Also, wow, that is extraordinarily blue. Oh, Annihilator, okay. For some reason on my playback screen here, if I can... Hang on, let's pull back the curtain a little bit. You can see it right there. Like, your name is extraordinarily blue for some reason. But, yeah, I don't know. It's so blue I can't even read it. And yeah, so this isn't Ghosts and Goblins, but this is gonna be way harder, I'll tell you that much. Because past, like, hell, past halfway through the first chapter, hell, even past the first couple fights, you're not meant to be able to do this. The game was, I would argue, not even remotely made to support this kind of run. So, we're gonna be cheesing every possible thing in the game. Like, what I was talking about with the Death Whale, see, there's a few attack types that'll actually get through most defenses, and see, they're not exactly created equal. For a while I was considering using cudgels, because, well, they could potentially give other little beneficial effects and all that. They actually start off with a multi-hit move, and multi-hit moves are kind of like the big go-to. They give you a flat amount of damage, and then they scale with accuracy. So, to give you an idea of how the different scalings work, there's only accuracy and there's damage. Damage will be, you do a certain amount of damage based off your stats for your first attack, and then every point past 100, it'll add more damage to it. Which seems like it should be the way to go for this, because then you could guarantee at least 100 on any particular attack, right? So, let's see, this time orange and streamer can timeline. Well, true. Very true. But anyway, so yeah, as far as damage goes there, that is something that would seem beneficial, but due to how low our stats are going to be throughout this entire thing, well, we can't necessarily rely on that very much. Even that 100 is essentially going to be getting brought down. See, the way that the calculation kind of works, and bear in mind, I may get this a little bit wrong. There's so many systems in this that it's kind of hard to get all the math right, but basically it's just you have your initial stats comparison, which will decide who gets the advantage and disadvantage to their attack and defense. And then from there, it goes and compares equipment and then tries to say, like, okay, you know, like this weapon got past this armor and all that kind of thing. Okay, so this is going to be Gordon and the Order of the Highlands, because there can only be one. Yes, it's misspelled wrong, well, I'm pretty sure when Vale gets here, he'll get it. Actually, we'll just go Highlander. Is it a gigantic army by chance, Annihilator? Alright. So, we're actually going to recruit all of none of these starting ones. They're not very good. And, yeah, we don't want these. Because we want to have some say over our stats here. Especially this guy. Get out of here with your friggin' int and mind. What are you here? It's not going to help us at all. So, we're going to want to custom roll units. Let's see, the Stella Machina. Well, it definitely has a high opinion of itself, that's for sure. Saying it's pretty stellar. Alright, so your stats are generally going to start in the 30s. No thanks. So, we're going to look through these. The blue bars are basically telling us what we want there. We want max dex, basically. That's a big deal here, so yeah. Alright, and then we're going to need a bunch of different names. I mean, I already know that that we won't be able to use Felicia in this one, so this will be Felicia too. If anyone wants to have a name in this run, go ahead. I'll probably go with most of the folks that are usually here. Bear in mind, gender won't be much of a thing here, because I'm going exclusively for whatever stats are being used. Making everybody neutral so that they're not being affected too much over the course of the plotline. So this is going to be Evan. Does TBM have a Twitch? I don't believe so. I think he streams on YouTube. Alright. There's some nice decks on you. Alright, that'll be not aircell. So just haven't already got a character, alright? Dang straight. Yeah, so this run's gonna be weird. It's gonna be very weird. Alright, no Sven's not here, but I just think this is funny. So it's gonna be Sven lady. Gotta give Cerebro character here. There we go. I don't think we're rolling much higher than 54. Actually, it should be even higher on this guy, because they're not really getting that much up the Rune Fencer. The nice thing about this being low level right now is that we can more easily judge what kind of stats everybody rolled. Once you get to higher levels, like, it's this tiny little difference over on the left. Alright, so we got 5 characters already. We're gonna need more, but... What's up? I know, we got matching pants on. I know, we got Christmas pants! Christmas tree pants are the best thing, by the way. Just want to say. Like, so yeah, back on Christmas we got these, like, Christmas pajamas and all that. And, what? Oh, Mommy's at work right now. Yeah, she has to test people for the plague. Oh, you want a cheese stick? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. One cheese stick coming up. Alright. And actually, in honor of that, we're going to name this one cheese stick. Alright. And yeah, this run's going to be so weird. What's funny is I actually routed it for neutral, and we're gonna try something completely different and try running it law. This is probably gonna be a really stupid idea. But anyway, hang on one quick sec. Alright, and back. So, what we're gonna need for the start of this here, we're gonna need a few war rings. What's funny is, yeah, we're here. We don't even have most of the options that we need so far. Alright, that'll do for now. Actually, no, it won't, because I need to sell a few more things here. So, sell all these. All the silvers we're going to need for later. Those are going to be few and far between. Spellbooks will work okay for the time being. Need to save blessing stones. As far as all this goes, yeah, we already have gloves. We will never be at a high enough level to equip leather gloves. What a start. Well, we're never going to use robes either, so we'll get rid of those. As weird as it seems, the short and vest combo is actually worth using for a good chunk of the game. It seems like it would be completely worthless, but it's surprisingly not. So this is going to be our mainstay healing item for most of it, the old Mend Leaf +2, because, you know, this is a way of organizing things that totally makes sense. Alright, so, again, this will also seem weird. I forgot to pick up one of the things I needed. Despite the fact that we're going to be running a deficit on a lot of things, we're actually going to be using crossbows and daggers on everyone. Now, you might be wondering, why crossbows? Why not just a shield? And see, the thing is, when it comes to this game's equipment and everything else, stepping backwards and taking a shot with a crossbow takes 16. So that'll add 16 to their recovery time. It'll make them a little bit slower. Weight on that is 5. On these ones, the weight is 2 and the recovery time is 8, so it's half of taking a shot with a crossbow. The shield, on the other hand, is a weight of 5, so it's a little bit more weight on there. So essentially, they have a quick attack option that's going to be reasonably useful. Yes, this means that everyone's going to be starting off with 2 skills to get ranked up to 8 before we even leave Chapter 1. Is that going to be tedious as hell? Oh, you know it. But it's, yeah. It's going to be a time. It's definitely going to be a time. Now, we should... Yeah, we usually wind up with just enough points to be able to pick up 1 skill slot, as well as all these. And what's funny is that back in the day, this is a run that I used to do for Knight of Lotus a good bit. I called it the Modern Army run, but the whole idea was just crossbows and short swords were the only things that were allowed. And it was pretty fun, actually. I definitely liked running that one. We'll say this setup will get boring, and the messed up part is this isn't even what everybody's going to be running through most of the game. Hang on, I need to mess with my controls again. Yeah, for some reason my controls have been acting a little bit funky today. Some of my stuff is not mapped where it should be. Let's go get rid of all of that. Put this one here, get rid of all of this. Put this here, and then hopefully that'll sort out the issue. Oh, hi! What you doing? Your cheek? What's up with your cheek? A Dalmatians? How are Dalmatians up with your cheek? Yeah, you want some Dalmatians on? Okay, I think we can do that. Hey, did I not buy those? Alright. Anyway, so a couple things we need to go through here. We need to buy everybody one of those, and no, we're not going to be using them. We're going to buy a bunch of those. And then... forget if I need anything from anyone else. I think that's it. Hold on, just one quick sec here. Alright, so, general thing here, switching everybody over to archers for the purposes of, well, of changing a couple quick things. We need to make sure that they get a little bit of extra damage here, as well as giving them a little bit, as well as giving them access to Field Alpha 1. After that, we're actually going to be running warriors for most of it, despite being the most basic class. It ends up working out pretty well for this one. And we're also going to want to be running 2 that are using bows. Ah, crap! I screwed that up already. That's fine. We'll hire more to use bows, or we'll just adjust some of the ones that are already there. Like I said, routing for this one's a little bit odd. All right, we need stickers. We'll get those over time. For the time being, we just want to train crossbows anyway. So whoever can get one gets one. For the most part, we're going to be functioning on these. So there we go. So we're going to be getting a little bit extra damage from using archers, and we're going to be getting a little bit of equipment usage out of that. We'll just run bucklers on everybody else, or just whatever else we have laying around. For the first few fights, it's going to be a little basic, but that's fine. No big whoop. And yeah, these initial setups are pretty useful for the time being anyway. We'll get rid of them eventually. Main purpose is that they give a little bit extra dex, so it's 5 extra points of dex. It matters a decent bit early on. Later on, it won't matter nearly as much, but the mild damage threshold of 19 that they give, it'll at least reduce some incoming damage. It's not going to be too amazing, but oh well. All things in time and all that. Alright, we'll just run her with this stuff. And that should do. So that's every penny we have already spent. And we're actually gonna go ahead and let Canopus get killed off in this first fight. We'll just be back for him later. Like I said, Canopus would be useful throughout the run, but I just figure I know that I'd be tempted to go back and do another version of this run, where it's like, oh, you know, what if we also did it, you know, no Canopus and no special unit and whatever else. So screw it, generics only. We're just doing this completely to the maximum from the first go around because it's gonna take a while. You know, I should probably put that in the title. And this does mean, you might have already noticed, we can't actually put these guys on AI control yet. There's going to be a lot of grinding on this, and a lot of that does revolve around putting it on AI control, putting it on fast forward, and just letting the experience happen. We're essentially going to be almost outdoing the Balmamosa before even getting there. So I was talking about the route earlier. Main reason that I'm gonna be going law is just you get more characters. The way that it breaks down, law gives you more units. Neutral, actually, I would say neutral gives you more overall. Law gives you some of the better skills on units, and then chaos is just wasn't even considered for this run, since you kind of get less of both. Now, as weird as it is, one of the reasons I'm going for law in particular is just because you can pick up Draconology on that one. I know for a fact you can get the entire party with Anatomy running neutral, and you get a decent amount of extra characters. Hell, in one fight you get 3 of them in one fight. But the problem is, saving the neutral trio is next to impossible without Canopus on the team. So when I decided to go for generics only, that's one of the reasons I decided to go for this. One of the issues, though. And you might be thinking, like, wait, does that mean you're going to be grinding up, cards and whatever else later on? Later, yes. Early on, it's not actually going to be a priority, as funny as that sounds. Because, yes, while the very, 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 very slow stat climb is all well and good, that would take months, and I'd rather not do that. So instead, what we're going to do, whatever stats happen over the course of regular skill grinding will happen. That's whatever, you know. It happens, it happens. But when it comes to did I pick up trajectory on this guy? No, I didn't even give him a skill. Why did the trajectory line appear for a second there, or am I just crazy? I have no idea. Either way, yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing something. Seems I forgot to equip crossbow skills on all of these units. It really won't matter much for this first fight. This is nothing. We really just got to get everyone up to rank 2 at least manually, and then we can go from there. Is it grindy? Yes. Very much so. Funnily enough, despite all the excessive grind, still somehow feels less grindy than War of the Visions. I actually finished that yesterday. I was doing a complete spite run of War of the Visions just to see if there was anything remotely, you know, salvageable going on there. Man. It's a bummer. it's a real bummer. Like, I was saying earlier, but seriously, like, WOTV, it feels like somebody started making FFT2 just, like, in their free time as a hobby. It's like, oh, you know, here's this cool engine and whatever else, you know, I'm sure we can make something work with this, you know, just give it a little bit of a budget, we'll think about it. And then just somebody kicks down the door like, no, this is going to be a mole game now, and then they just took over it. So, like, it can do FFT or Tactics Ogre-like stuff, and some of the abilities do technically function, but there's no reason to use them. It's just kind of amazing. Like, for example, the fact that there's... All that entire game ever boils down to is just, like, what makes the bigger numbers happen. Because ranging and everything else feels like it should be part of it, but it pretty much never is. Like, and ultimately, it kind of just boils down to put every character as a... Just, like, get a bunch of mages, get all the mage units, and that's it. You can't really actually customize anything, though for some reason reviews were insisting that, oh, it's so heavily customizable. You can't customize jack crap in that one. You can upgrade stuff, but that's it. I mean, there's no actual customization. It's just what you upgrade first. So, yeah. Even, like, classes are all preset and things like that. Okay, I guess... Yeah, I would feel really bad just having Canopus fired or whatever else, so... I think we'll just go ahead and betray him at this point. Alright. So, to explain a little bit of a routing option that I was starting to touch on earlier. Why on earth would we be running warriors for most of this thing? Like, right now we're running archers exclusively for field alchemy and that very minor bonus. Their lack of movement means that we're just not going to bother using them. Once all said and done, the actual difference is about 6 damage, give or take, between archers and warriors, but that one-tile movement is not worth that much. But, and it's a rather sizable but here, the warrior has a weird advantage in that when it comes to all the weapon skills, they can use all of them, which you might be thinking, why would you want this? Also, I forgot to betray Canopus. It's fine, we'll just fire him then. So you might be thinking, why would it matter that you can give everybody every weapon skill? Because we're not going to be using every weapon. We've got 2 that we want to use. One of them is just convenient. So yeah, no Canopus this time around. We'll come back and get him. Don't worry. For the time being, we do not need him. So, well, I mean, we definitely do need him, but we're not going to use him. Alright, so first off, Field Alchemy 1, and then I'll explain more on that whole warrior thing. Because, okay, so, as far as the warrior is concerned, again, the whole using every weapon, well, almost every weapon thing is kind of their only redeeming factor. They're supposed to be the training class. There's a thing to every weapon skill that's not really realized that often, and that would simply be that they... Oh, I never... Wait, what? Oh, Cheese Stick never even went out. Okay, Cheese Stick is going to be one of the bow users then. But yeah, every time they use a weapon, it applies its calculations, it applies the skill rank calculations to everything. So, basically that means that when they're attacked with a two-hander, they're going to defend better against a two-hander if they have the two-hander weapon skill equipped. So if I keep them equipped with every weapon skill in the background, they are passively getting basically a damage resistance buff against every weapon skill type. So it ends up being surprisingly useful as far as that goes. Also, you know what? If I never spent his points, Cerebro would be easy to remember as a bow user. So we'll do that. Fantastic. So we've got our 2 bow ears. Well, not bow ears, but we've got our 2 mainline archers here. I should probably get him his dagger. We'll get everybody their daggers. All in due time. So yeah, we actually gotta... we gotta go get some stuff here before we even start that first fight. Because without Canopus, that fight can be a little difficult, but we can't use him. So instead, we're gonna get good. We're gonna get good at everything. So currently, cheese stick is our main item user. Change it to this. Again, just ups their speed a little bit. It says that their stats drop, by the way. But the weird part is they don't actually get the stat bonus off the second item. Actually, wait a minute. Wait a dang minute. They shouldn't be, but... Oh, it's because shields count as armor. Okay, so they're going to be better off with... Yeah, they're going to be better off with the shields. It's 50 points wasted. Oh, well. This is going to be fine anyway. For everybody else, it makes more sense to go with dagger and crossbow, because they're more than likely going to be in the thick of it, and that 1 point of damage isn't going to make as much of a difference for them. Okay, we need one more dagger. I think, yeah, we've got some random garbage we can sell to pick up another one of those. And yeah, we're going to make the sticker last a good bit. So the sticker, as funny as it sounds, it's only there for speed. Most of the time, it won't matter. Like, when it comes to them auto-fighting later on, it usually won't be anything that blows minds or anything else. Yes, they're a really solid damage option early on. Yes, they can be okay later on, but they don't have much in the way of finishers that'll get past defenses in any way. Also, thank you, Sajira, for the follow there. Sorry, quick drink of water there, because I was going on a bit of a ramble. But okay, so yeah, crossbows are going to be the main getting past armor option. Daggers are only there as a quick, like, they've got nothing better to do, they can't fire their crossbow, you know, just take a swing, maybe it'll do something. Yes, it's going to be a lot of time invested for a very situational thing, but there's a lot that's going to happen with that. So we don't have access to AI training yet. What I plan to do for this first stream is just get to that point. So we need to get everybody to rank 2, then we need to finish off Chrysero, and then we need to, then from there we need to go ahead and start heading north, and then at that point we can actually get everybody properly situated. See, at this point we can barely hurt lizards, so we might need to spawn fights a few times to see what happens here. Yeah, they've got healers. We're just going to go straight for the healers. In fact, just for the sake of safety here... Oh, I didn't get any plumes this time. Okay. Fair enough. You usually start off with a couple plumes, but didn't end up grabbing them. Just going to head up this way. And this is where the low movement becomes a little bit of an issue, because there's going to be times that we have to clear a good bit of the map, and we just don't have that option. So rogues are going to be... really useful. Warriors are going to be really useful. Most of the time, we're going to be using warrior because of that whole defense situation. Like a dedication to this awesome game? Well, thank you. It's definitely one of my favorites. Just love the kind of stuff you can do here. Alright, so we're going to try to go for the lizard here first. Yeah, she would definitely be the easier target. I think we'll go for the rune fencer here. So rune fencers at this level thankfully aren't too much of an issue, but they can heal. So most of the time they'll come in with Divine on this particular map. So you want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. First you go for clerics, then you go for fencers, then you go for anything else. It prevents a lot of issues. Again, they can heal 40. Normally that wouldn't even matter just because of how many options you have, but that 40 will make the difference. And they don't always have it, I should probably clarify. They'll only come in on the level 3 version. They can spawn in at level 2 or level 3. This one's at 3, so they can take it out. Now, to kind of explain the calculations, by the way, as to what makes this run even work, with every rank in a skill, you're essentially gaining 4 damage and 3 accuracy, as well as 4 general toughness against that particular thing. Which basically means that it scales down the damage. It's not exactly a damage threshold, but it does reduce damage against that thing, as I understand it. Again, considering you need an entire spreadsheet to make sense of the calculations, it's kind of an overly simplistic explanation of it, but, you know, it is how it is. So this is why we got the ability to use Mendleaf +2s pretty early on. Because, yeah, these guys can put a pretty decent walloping on everybody. That's going to matter quite a bit as far as as the run goes on, especially once we get to a level where, you know, things are easily one-shotting everybody on the team. We're more or less just going to need options that allow for taking down the fight before it even starts. So yeah, there's ways, there's means, there's a lot of complications along the way, but it'll be one hell of a journey, that's for sure. When it comes to the extreme grinds, I'm gonna do those off camera, so don't worry, it's not gonna be too painful. Like, this is why I want to get to that first auto grind point today, so that I can kind of just leave it running in the background. They can just all safely get all their stat points, and we're all good to go there. I'm going ahead and yeah, probably shouldn't have let him take his turn actually, because that one more arrow would have finished him. But that's fine. Bows will hit. The reason that we went for both bows and crossbows, crossbows are going to be the main source of damage. I like to have a lot of them around, since on many of the fights we're going to see a good number of the team just get squashed before they can even do anything. What I need is the option for a few death whales to be available, so that I can essentially just go and burst snipe something whenever needed. There's going to be a lot of sandbag cheesing over the course of this. There's going to be just a lot of the most painful things that you can do for this kind of run. Thankfully, when it comes to sandbag cheese, you can easily get a whole lot of blessing stones, or hallowing, no, just blessing stones here. On this particular map, the cleric will almost always drop one, so that's always handy. And then as time goes on, they've got a good variety of weapons, so almost everything aside from two-handers will actually end up getting to rank 2 by the time we're done with that, without ever even swinging one. So just off getting hit by them, since you get about half an experience point per every attack taken. It does vary a little bit. There are also some factors that I believe raise or lower experience on those, but it's not something that's confirmable at this point. So we'll just leave it at that. Right there, in many cases they're going to be getting dagger and sword XP without ever actually doing anything. I did try running it with sword and crossbow once, just so we have access to more damage scaling stuff on the sword side. Have Rending Gale and all that. Didn't wind up being worth it. The extra weight from swords just didn't make it worthwhile at all. Originally I was thinking spears would be the thing that would carry this run, since there's two weapons that have the 3-hit ability. One of them are spears, the other is crossbows. The unfortunate part there being that, spears, despite having technically higher attack, and around Chapter 3, like, they will do more damage up until that point, but then around Chapter 3 it starts tipping towards the crossbow's favor, just because scaling starts kicking in far more noticeably at that point. And yeah, once you get to the very highest end of things, they fall flat. I mean, they start doing just 1-1-1 instead of doing anything actually viable, whereas crossbows stay good all until the end. With everything maxed out, you can do about 60 damage with a burst when it comes to Death Whale. I do need to get some units up here, but this one needs to go down first. And Denim turned out pretty weak as far as shots go, but that's alright, as long as he's durable. See, the thing is, on every route you're still also going to have to survive a 1v1. And, well, you can see why that might be a problem. Alright, so we've only got one that can use this +2 here. That's unfortunate. This is why we'll need more of those over time. I'll just let her take her shot. Alright, leave that there. Go ahead and get this one back up on her feet. Ideally, we get more units getting up than they're getting down. Alright, please miss. Thank you. Alright, you're gonna go ahead and... you know what? He's not very good damage-wise. We're just gonna do this. Our only goal here is crossbows rank 2. Anything else can kind of wait. And after we get Field Alk 1 on everyone, it'll be a lot easier to... Thank you. It'll be a lot easier to make these fights viable. As you can see, their damage is garbage right now. But see, that 4 attack, I should probably mention, it scales up. So think of it like if you've played Dark Souls, think of it like that. Like every rank up is basically another Titanite slapped on there. So yeah, at the start it's only a few extra points, but then once you get everything going, it's just like, okay, suddenly those 4 points are an extra 20, and suddenly you're getting all these little upgrades left and right. So essentially it scales up. Like let's say you've got one weapon that does 10, their armor is 10. Then they're basically only getting their damage from their stats. Like they're basically coming up even as far as those go. They're getting some damage from their stats. No, that's not the order that it actually checks things in, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just an example. So just goes and checks their stats in that case. But like suddenly they get another rank. Suddenly they're getting a bonus off of their stats because they're getting past damage threshold. And then you take that more and more and more, and then you put anatomy into the mix. And then once you have anatomy, you're suddenly seeing bonuses that are, friggin' 36 times higher, or 36% higher, and then suddenly you're mixing in any kind of other skills that might be relevant, like, let's say you get an augment later. Kind of spoilers for later, but my plan is to eventually make it so that Denim can one-shot the last boss at level 1. That's the goal. Is it possible? Yes. Surprisingly, it's possible. It's weird that it's possible, but yeah, it's possible. Now, there's a few points in the game where, despite spending so long on getting these characters up, we will have to let them take a few life losses. So I'm gonna try and preserve their lives as much as possible. If you're thinking, well, wait, down the road, won't we need elixirs or something? Yes, we will need some elixirs to get through the run. There's ways to get those. There's ways to get just about everything we need, really. And in fact, as far as damage goes, if you know what I'm talking about, don't worry, these aren't the characters that are going to be used for what I'm talking about. Because there's only one other set of weapons that are going to be the actual last set of weapons that can be used for turning everybody, or for essentially making this run work. And it's one of the reasons that I think it may theoretically be possible to get a lance kill on this run. I'm gonna try. I don't know for certain that it can be done, but it seems like it could be. So the things in question here are going to be the cursed weapons. You get them in Palace of the Dead. You get one of each weapon type, or you can get one of each weapon type. They're a bit of a pain in the A to get hold of. And yeah, you have to permanently sacrifice a unit to actually make them. And here's the thing, you might be thinking just hire somebody from the store. Yes and no. You can just get a rando from the store, but the better their stats, the better their skills, the better your actual outcome is. So you're usually better off maxing them out. And don't worry, there is a quick way to get that done. Because there's actually a few areas in the game where you can essentially grind for meats. So if you didn't know, the meats are the item equivalent of the cards, wherein you functionally just feed them steak until they become beefy. Now, steak is the easiest to get a hold of. The other ones are possible, but a bit rarer. I'm pretty sure there's a meat pun to be made in there, but we'll just leave that as is for now. Alright. There. And actually, I think right now we might be seeing the effect of that one extra damage as to why the bows do more. Like, the bows will do more early on, to be fair. As time goes on, it'll become clear that they're not really the more optimal choice, but yeah, their damage will max out at maybe 30-ish by the end game. Their best chance can be like 30 to 40 and a status effect. So at that point, things are running like 300-400 health. Sometimes up to 500, depending on what you're looking at. Do this to speed it up a little bit. So now everyone can heal, finally. So once we get to crossbows to rank 2, we can easily steamroll. We can steamroll the next town. Then we can steamroll the next fight. Truth be told, we might be able to do it even without it. It's just a little bit risky. I'd like to see at least one unit get to rank 2 before then. And I didn't actually check what's going on in this fight before starting it. Yeah, we're going to take a few long-range shots and go from there. So I think what we're gonna do, we're just gonna run archers until it's a problem. Just for the sake of saving a little bit of time here. Because for the most part, we're not going to be moving very far. We're not going to be taking many hits. But once we do start taking hits, that's when warriors are going to be a bit more important. There we go. So, funnily enough, route-wise, I did try a few other potential options, like going for knights and going for berserkers and all that kind of thing. Completely not worth it. Not even a little. And I have to say, I think there's actually a individual... there has to be something along the lines of certain units having a permanent luck situation going on. I have yet to be able to prove that in any possible capacity. But there is some serious jank as far as that goes. Like, I had this one berserker guy in one of my routing test runs, and, like, the guy, no matter what, would just never hit. I don't know why. Like, he'd be missing 80% all day, and just 25% would hit him all the time. It was so weird. It was so weird. Like, eventually I tried feeding him luck cards, but then he wouldn't get anything but luck downs, and, like... Then I started wondering if it was that weird situation where your luck kind of overflows into becoming bad luck, and just everybody's critting all day. Just, they could never catch a break. And so I tried switching them out of the class, thinking maybe it was a Berserker thing, because they were essentially there to test the Berserker class. No such luck there. It's just, yeah. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Now, if we wanted to, we could theoretically just leave it running for dang near infinity, get everybody up to rank 8 in both their skills, and once their stats max out, they'll do like 50 damage. So that's neat. It's really once anatomy hits and you start getting those multiple layers of scaling that stuff goes completely off the rails. Usually if you get like anatomy plus become over-leveled, that'll be a bit different in the base game. So like if you do the whole throwing rock run, like I was talking about earlier, if you're even a couple levels over, you start already doing actual damage, and then if you have anatomy ranked up, you can easily be doing hundreds with a throwing rock like nobody's business. That's why I decided just not to do that one. It wasn't terribly interesting. It was interesting that it worked, so I figured this was just going to be the more fun one to do, especially if we cut out all the grinding stuff. So there's going to be two, I guess technically 3 big grinds. One of them is going to be right here. So once we get to this first little checkpoint of sorts, we're going to be doing that. I will allow retreats for this one, just because, well, obviously we're going to need to have that option sometimes. But yeah. Also, I could just do the whole save and load thing, but that would it would make it tedious. I'm going to try to do it with as few retreats as possible. I'm going to try not to abuse it. I guess in this particular context, there's very little that would be considered to be abusable. Aside from Canopus, that's why we're not using him. Aside from most of the main, aside from the special characters and stuff like that. If I was doing the neutral route, I would still make an exception for Chamos, though. For anyone that doesn't know, for whatever reason, I guess the devs just really hated Chamos, or maybe they made a mistake or something. He's the only character in the game that is actively worse than a generic for any particular reason. Since the only actual benefit that special characters get is usually a recovery time bonus. That's something that's just locked to them, so they're always going to be slightly faster than other people. In the case of Ozma and Ravnus and Fulcrit to some degree, it gets ridiculous. That they're functionally just running on permanent haste. But, you know, somebody decided that was okay. Like, Sven Lady just took a hammer to the face. So yeah, mostly what we're going to be using the retreat function for is just avoiding injuries. I mean, we're not really getting any experience off these anyway. Is it still possible to get out of this without an injury? Sure. Is it likely? I'd say it's about a 50-50 right now. I think we need maybe a couple crits. Yeah, if we get a couple crits, it's still doable. I need a couple crits and then need them to miss one attack, if I'm judging this math correctly. There we go, there's one of our crits. And then if we just sit here and fire repeatedly, we should be okay. So once we... I'm not really going to bother training daggers right now. Yes, it would be faster to take swings in some of these cases. I'm not going to do it right now, simply because once the AI training gets going, it'll just do it itself. It'll just be faster that way. The main downside of this... There we go, there's our miss. Now we just need our second crit, and we can still pull this off. The crit needs to happen on the other guy. That'll do. Like right there, it makes sense to take the swing, because they're right next to them. And that's usually what the AI will do with those as well. It's functionally a pistol and knife run for any Resident Evil fans out there. Which, speaking of, the RE3 remake looked pretty dang snazzy, gotta say. Like, yeah, it didn't have all of the stuff that the original had, but man, it certainly added a lot of things. Not sure about all the set pieces, but pretty neat game. Alright, you got a dagger. Out of curiosity on this guy, so 14 with the dagger, 15 with the crossbow. It's a very slight adjustment. Yeah, I feel confident in being able to step forward and take that bag. Pretty much all drops will be useful. We're going to be running through consumables constantly. Even once we start auto-training, they're going to be running through heal 2s constantly. We're actually going to go ahead and sell all of our mending leaves, since the AI on mend leaves is terrible. So yeah, standard mend leaves, like, it's basically just an AI trap. They'll just sit there and eat those things like it's a dang drug. Actually, I'm thinking that's probably why they're included as a joke drug in One Vision. Get out of here with your 12% dodge. And there we go. RE3 remake was a bit gimmicky at the end. Watch Pan's playthrough. He played in hardcore. Yeah, it was. I've been watching Balkbasoops on it. He's a speedrunner guy that does a lot of challenge runs and that kind of thing. Good lord, man. Yeah, that last fight on friggin' Nightmare and Inferno, dude, holy crap, that was some Dark Souls crap. Like Dark Souls level 1 or something. It was, oof. The thing had a legit just stun lock insta-kill on that difficulty. It's a little bit rough there, but yeah, otherwise really cool game. Once we start auto-training, by the way, I'm probably going to pick up more +1s than +2s. It's a very slight difference, but they're cheaper. It tends to keep everybody alive for one more hit so that the AI stops trying to heal them again, and tends to just make stuff go faster. Go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, it's kind of weird that the hardcore on that one worked on completely different rules than it did in RE2. Especially considering they were made side by side, and they constantly kept ping-ponging ideas off each other in development, apparently. Right. Alright, this one could be a problem because they spawn a cleric. Two of them, actually, and okay, we got the close cleric. So here's how we're gonna do this. Do I have a strength card by chance? Okay, we got a plume at some point. We'll use that. Probably should have used that on somebody else. But that's okay. I should probably also mention this is gonna be no chariot. If I hit the wrong button or something like that, I'll allow the turn reset trick, but it's not really something that's gonna be necessary for this. Should be all good. Not to mention, I just don't like using chariot. It just feels cheap. Alright, that's one down. That looks like yeah, it's a full. Well, that's pretty worthless. Actually, funnily enough, on my routing run, loyalty became an issue. So if you repeatedly let your units get downed, and you end up winning the fight instead of retreating to save them, their loyalty will keep dropping. So in some cases, if you end up abusing sandbagging way too much, then you end up running into problems. That being said, yeah, the retreat mechanic just solves that. So if you let units get downed, then yeah, you're pretty much fine. I didn't look at everyone's nationalities going into this. That can potentially play a part. I'm actually just going to go pick up the card just for, see, like right there, I hit the wrong tile by mistake. See, I've never seen loyalty issue in the PSP remake. Oh yeah, no, you gotta let your dudes get killed over and over and over and over. Like, they have to take actual life losses, and then they gotta take a bunch of loyalty drops from being knocked out, and then just finishing the fight without them. Like, you gotta go out of your way to see that mechanic. It's basically a non-issue. I really should have just swung the knife there. I don't know why I tried to take the shot. You know what? Actually, yeah, we're gonna push this guy. Yeah, that doesn't train a skill, but I wanna see about having him aggro to the left there. Okay, that sucks. Now these are the lowest encounters we'll ever get in the game, and we can already get two-shot by everything. Let that sink in. Also hammers, yeah, hammers are pretty much gonna be a one-shot. But this is why we're gonna be burning through leaves like nobody's business. These guys are essentially gonna be eating up resources constantly. Let's see, especially Alistair. Yeah, that's about the only time you'll ever frickin' see it. And in most cases, yeah. In most cases, it just never comes up. You know, now that I'm looking at his stats, I think I might have actually... Oh, thanks for the dodge, Evan. I think I might have rolled a defensive denim. Well, how about that? Well, I'm gonna need you to stab this lizard real good. I think what I might do is actually just go ahead and run forward with the fight to unlock AI early. It's not ideal, but it's technically doable. Go for petty. There we go. Yeah, I was kind of tossing up whether to start this or finish, attempt to finish up Fellseal today. I don't know, it just felt like a Tactics Ogre kind of day. Not sure why, but well. Alright, we need to get you patched up because I don't have any revival items. Yeah, we don't technically gotta finish the fight. Yeah, we don't actually get anything for it, but dang it, it feels good. Feels good not to blemish the record there. Right, push you backwards to make you slow down a little. Nice clear shot on Mr. Petty over here. There we go. Yeah, I think the only time I've seen an actual threat from the loyalty mechanic was during the guns only run. Or actually, no, the no skill run. That was like 5-6 years ago now. And yeah, the only reason it ended up coming up was just because, yeah, they were dying constantly. We were sandbagging our way through the entire thing. And honestly, I didn't know a lot of the tricks that I know now. So that would have definitely saved a lot of potential headache there. But part of it was because, well, okay, so Hanging Gardens with the no-skill run, whew, that's, yeah, had to sacrifice things constantly. I mean, most of it boiled down to just making the fight win itself, just basically using Charm Darts for everything. Okay, good, you can get the Emperor card. The best thing we can get is Emperor cards right now. I know that seems dumb. Like, it's the one stat you can probably gain the most benefit from, one health at a time, but you can eventually get their health up by 200. It's the only one that you can actually get up to 100. Everything else you can max out at like 70 or so. I think we're gonna have to take a retreat here. Yeah, looking more and more likely with every turn. Also, I'm fairly certain that warriors are slightly faster than archers. Despite them being overpowered in pretty much every capacity, they at least have the sense to make them somewhat slow. Nice! Okay, that's perfect. Okay, maybe it's not perfect, because I wanted to make sure she was healing herself, but that didn't quite pan out. And there goes another one. Ah well, that's fine. To give you an idea of how friggin' slow this is going, by the way, 23% of the way there, 5% of the way there. Yeah, we're basically just getting started. But that's fine. You just have them keep taking shots. Once you set it to AI, once you can build the team to the point where they can just do this on their own, which doesn't take much at this level, surprisingly. This build, combined with a very moderate amount of luck, they can usually get past all this without any injuries by the time they get to rank 2. Once they start getting to like rank 4 and so, it starts being a complete non-issue. They start trouncing it. Once they get to rank 6, it just doesn't even matter anymore. As long as they have finishers, like as long as they have some to use, they'll be pretty good. Plus a nice thing, despite it being a pretty iffy skill on any other day, we're actually going to end up running Trajectory on most of these guys, because A, they can get it, and B, well, it's not like there's too many other skills for them to be using. They're going to be using weapon skills, yes, on pretty much every slot. They're going to be getting Anatomy and Augment down the road, but for the time being, it really doesn't matter that much. Also, I didn't mean to shield dash with him. For some reason I thought he had a dagger. He is the shield guy. We'll just do that. Alright, do we have any revives anywhere? Yes. Surprisingly, we do. How about that mess? So we're only going to use revives on people that are about to tick out. And there we go. So, okay, so I was saying earlier, in terms of doing that whole spite run through War of the Visions, just to see if there was anything remotely salvageable going on there. So, I still think that it must have been an actual attempt at FFT2 before somebody just took the engine or something. Because I cannot imagine that they put that much effort into making so many things actually work without, without actually having the intent to make the game. Like, it just doesn't make sense to have piles and piles of debuffs, piles and piles of different resistances and crap, and then just none of them ever get utilized. So, yesterday I made it to the end of that thing that claims to be a story, and, yeah, it doesn't even bother to end. You just get a to be continued after the end of Chapter 5. Like, oh man, what a cliffhanger. Some dude got stabbed that pretty much was a dick to everyone, so who cares, and some people, some friggin' rando, please respect my OC ninja characters came in and, like, beat some bad dudes, presumably, after they mysteriously just sort of didn't die over and over. That's kind of the running theme with that one. I don't know why they bothered to even have a story with it, because what it consists of is, like, you have a cutscene, you show up to that cutscene, okay, all well and good there. Hang on, I'm just seeing if... Okay, yeah, he's going to be better off reviving her. So you show up to that cutscene, and some people are like, oh man, let's just have an argument or something else, let's go have an arm wrestling contest. It's basically like the worst of a Mortal Kombat storyline kind of thing. But then it gets even worse, because they're like, oh, let's have a fight for literally no reason. Oh wait, but we're not really here, and it's like some person gets surrounded in the wilderness, and it's like, oh man, they're injured and they're surrounded by wolves. So instead, it's your ghost people fighting those wolves. Yeah, but what happened to the plot there? I mean, what's going on here? Game's not going to tell you. It's just like you have a stupid cutscene with every trope you can imagine, and then all of a sudden you're having a fight with not even the things that were in the cutscene. Like in one of them, I kid you not, there's just an argument between two people before suddenly they're like, "Go fight some wildlife, though." Okay. I mean, two of the characters that I technically rolled at the start there got killed off casually without even getting a line of dialogue. It's just, they didn't even have music for... Well, okay, they technically had music in it, if you want to call it that. It's like one theme that's overly bombastic that plays for almost everything, and then they slowly started adding different music into different places. Like, somebody finally realized, oh wait, 99% of this thing is watching auto battle play out. Maybe we should have the music not be the same thing constantly. It's a weird time. It's a super weird time. Wouldn't recommend it. I actually tried to do a... I was planning to do a little video review thing, but when I tried to play it on my on the PC here to actually capture it to some degree, it wouldn't even launch. Apparently people were having crashing issues with it. It's so weird. It's just so weird. Alright, so we're going to pick up Trajectory. I'm not going to probably put it on most, and it's going to get replaced. Actually, what am I saying? I might as well put it on most. You know what? Who cares? We might as well. There we go. Oh, wait, we're in the 120 zone. Okay, we'll give it one more go. The one thing that's going to drive me up the dang wall for this run is the fact that one character is always going to have to be off with their points. It's so close to just having universal points for everybody. Alright. Oh, and if you're wondering about the numbers, it's roughly 1% experience per swing. Varying from like 0.7 to 1.2. Also, it's raining, so we probably won't be able to hit anything. On the plus side, neither will they. So there's that. But yeah, for early game, and actually for most of this run, it's just going to be focus firing down certain things as they're needed. Or unneeded, I suppose. Sit and wait for their turns. Let these guys go for a little bit. They're going to take a 0% chance. So just let them all take a hit, run backwards, let them take a hit, etc. If you might be thinking, hey, maybe those daggers are for counterattack, yeah, to some degree they will be, but we don't actually get access to counterattack for a very long time, and not even for most of the team. The first counterattack, basically the first of every useful skill we get has to go on Denim. Since he is required to solo a lot of situations. And, yeah, that's not going to happen in a lot of cases. We're probably going to have to retreat out of this map. Also, Wizard Guy will absolutely annihilate everyone. Don't know why I tried to take that shot, that makes no sense. Yeah, this one's definitely going to be a no-go. I think we'll probably just go ahead and attempt to continue the story. We should be able to do it. Yeah, from what I've tested, we should be able to make a team that can actually make it to the final ending if all goes well. I can't really guarantee that is the weird part. So like I was saying, the plan is to eventually get cursed weapons. Problem is, this basically means we go from a fully ranged strategy, or an almost fully ranged strategy, to suddenly turning into having most of the party doing melee stuff. There's only four ranged options that you get out of that. You get a blowgun. Why anybody would put their mouth on a friggin' cursed tube from hell, I don't know, but, you know, cursed blowgun. Either way, you get cursed bow, cursed crossbow, and cursed gun. So, cursed everythings are pretty okay if you max them out. Like, if you make a fully maxed out character, which for the stats that we need, there's farmable items that allow us to just take any old generic unit, feed them like just basically several hundred steaks, and yeah, then we have a maxed out weapon there. To give you an idea of the upgrade, currently these crossbows, let's see, I think they're like 43 attack, something like that. No, they're going to be 30 attack with 11% bonus damage, and then 30 attack with 4% bonus damage. It's like, oh, you know, it's a moderate amount. It's on the higher end of the stuff that you can get at the start of the game. The cursed things can get 255. The funny part is they're the only other thing with a level 1 thing that we don't have access to already. I'm not sure why they made them level 1, but hey, you know what? If they got them, they got them. So, pretty friggin' useful there. Basically, their scaling damage and everything else will be in about the 30 to 40% range, so they should be able to just run around one-shotting everything in theory. But that's the caveat there. Even though we're going to be fighting the lowest level of every single thing we run into, there's still the possibility that once we get to the very end, they just won't be able to hurt something. Is it likely? Maybe not. Because, again, when you look at anything in the Fusel class and whatever else, they're given 100 plus usually, because that's usually enough to get past defenses. So 255 should be more than enough to do everything, but I haven't tested all of the numbers on that, and honestly didn't want to. I kind of want to be surprised by that situation when we get there. Because I really hope it's possible. So for the time being, we can't actually even get to that point anyway. We already fired Canopus. You need Canopus in your team in order to do it. But basically that's just... I just want to go back and get him later. It would bug me the entire run that he's just sitting there not getting used, and then some person would always be in the background like, oh, why are you not using Canopus? Why don't you just scavenge his counterattack? You can't. He doesn't count as human. He is Birdman. No, I don't know why Birdmen don't count as people. I mean, they basically have all of the same stuff otherwise, for the most part. But no, you put some little flappy wings on there, and suddenly their souls are incompatible. This is actually going surprisingly well. And yeah, the only time we're actually going to bother with any kind of casting things is when we're going to pile up different kinds of scrolls and all that, so you take advantage of this aversion system. So if you didn't know, aversion gives you about a 10, I think it was like 10 to 15 something percent weakness to a particular element. Meaning that even if you have a caster that isn't very good, you can suddenly get a bunch of extra scaling damage off of a particular element type, which also can be particularly useful when combined with, say, something like Brimstone Hail and its fire scaling, along with somebody being averse to fire. So we're going to be spamming fireballs later. It's like the crossbow is kind of just the perfect thing for this run, because for everything that we could ever hope to get a hold of, it's just there to provide. Like, you want an elemental scaling option that scales with damage? Boom, first finisher. You want to have something that hinders movement? You know, and on the off chance that you need something to not move? Friggin' Dullbind on its second thing. You need something to do more damage than anything else? Death Whale, like, just right sitting there in the third slot. You want something that you'll never use? The eighth one. I don't even remember what it does. I think it's like a blind or something. I don't know. It's garbage. We're not going to use it, though. So, who cares? So, you know, rank 8 isn't terribly impressive, but at least rank 6 and rank 2 are pretty awesome. Rank 4 comes up sometimes. Not anything super mind-blowing there. You know what, even if we get the Blessing Stone off this, we should be good. Yeah, there it is. They almost always drop one. Yes. Oh, actually, that 40% just ruined it. I was gonna say there's a chance to get out of this without any issues, but I think we're probably gonna have to retreat it. Yeah, I know, I've been saying that this whole time. And so far we've gotten away without retreating, but sure enough, we're probably gonna have to. Probably should have gone for the wizard there. Please roll low. Nope, didn't roll low. Not great. They bounced the friggin' 2D sprite. It's rude to bounce those 2D sprites, don't you know? I still keep forgetting to check Denim's stats. And yeah, whichever finisher he gets first doesn't really matter. Either any finisher whatsoever just completely trounces the next story fight. I think we're just gonna try it normally though, just to see what happens. It's not like it's not doable or anything. I mean, obviously you wouldn't have finishers going in there the first time, but you'd also be coming in at 4 or 5, which is a solid 10 to 20 points higher than what we're currently running, depending on how you do it. But still. Now we're just going to go ahead and retreat it then. Go ahead and save it there. And let's do this thing. So whether or not we save Donalto is kind of irrelevant here. The only goal is to not even attack anything and just bummer straight to the boss. Meant to switch everybody over to warriors for this. Oh, whatever. It's fine. It's gonna take an extra turn, probably. Alright, come on, let me skip it. As soon as the camera starts moving. Yeah, they're only at 3, but it's guaranteed to rain on this fight. And there's actually one fight, kind of close to, we're going to be saving it for the end of Chapter 1. But there's actually a fantastic way to get your demonology up. We're not going to be using it right now, and I guess technically speaking there's no need to do it right now. Alright, actually now that I think about it, let's go on that little tangent. We can't actually get demonology. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it right now. There's only one character, and this is going to seem bizarre, but yeah, only one character in the entire frickin' game that you can hire that has demonology. And I'm kind of wondering if anybody knows who that is. Because it's, I kid you not, the single hardest unit to get in the game. Well, in my opinion, anyway. As in, the most annoying to get a hold of. And I don't mean for loyalty shenanigans or anything else, because those ones are kind of annoying, but they're not that annoying. Like, we're talking the difference between, like, oh, this the slight itch in my foot is annoying, and, oh crap, you know, somebody dropped a brick in my friggin' kneecap annoying. Alright, so despite having 2 exorcists on the team, they're not really going to bother. We're knocking that guy out of the way because he can get in the way, and I'd like to just have him off to the side. Might have to shoot through Amazon Lady with the 2-hander there. We'll see. Depends entirely on how slow we are compared to everybody else. The ghost will usually back up, so we'll just leave that as is. We've got enough items to tank for the time being. Yeah, 25 is going to be more than enough to get through this. So in that case, we're actually going to be fine. yeah, when I was going and practicing for the throwing stone only thing, the Nibith fight wound up being really useful for actually getting demonology up. But yeah, so yeah, I was thinking when going and routing everything, you know, like, okay, so demonology, it would be really handy. We could skip getting the cursed weapons entirely to beat the game if we go ahead and, you know, get a hold of that somehow. Just because that essentially causes the starting weapons to be able to get past the damage threshold and actually beat what's his face, friggin' Dorgy at the end there. Don't know why I suddenly blanked on the name, but whatever. So, you know, you'd think it would be easy to get a hold of. It's a very common skill. Everybody has access to it at 3. I think some of them get it at 8. Doesn't really matter. Works like any other kind of skill there. Although, you do get a little bit more... You get more overall bonuses. Why did I take that shot? Out of anatomy. Like, you just get general toughness applied in all situations when using anatomy. But there we go. That should leave the path nice and open. Anyway, so you think, okay, you know, like maybe it'll be Cressida or something like that. You know, they're a necromancer. Surely they would know about demons. Not them. Like, oh, so you think like maybe Divold or Aurelius? You know, they're Nibith's kids, for crap's sake. Surely they would know about demons. Nope. So you'd think, okay, you know, Brudlum, I guess? I mean, you literally find him in Palace of the Dead. Surely, nope. Not him either. Like, okay, so what about Lambs? I mean, he's fought demons and crap, right? Nope. What about all the literal exorcists that you run into? Not them either. The only guy that has access to demonology in the entire game is Warren. And that dude is smack dab on friggin' floor 115 of the Palace of the Dead. Conveniently, right after the second time that you would ever possibly need to get a hold of that. So there's only 2 bosses that you need demonology for, and yeah, you gotta beat both of them in order to get access to demonology, so that was a complete no-go. But interestingly, if, for example, you wanted to roll a friggin' pistol or whatever else that just happened to have like 30 or 40% bonus demonology damage and all that, that just happened to scale off a particular element, well, you could definitely get a hold of that. So that was more or less the plan. To get a hold of one of those, and just basically one-shot both of them. Now, specifically, I wanted to go for Fusils on that one because they've got the longest range. Once we get to that second fight... wait, why was I attacking? I meant to heal with you. When it came to that second fight, you just don't really have much time for anything, especially on a level 1. So the best possible thing would just be to just cheese what's it? The freaking time warping move. I was a paradigm shift. There we go. So you basically gotta cheese that in order to get your pistolier close to them, and just pop them in the face. And there we go. Now, thankfully, the good thing about it being a Fusil is you can guarantee a crit. Because the one of the only guaranteed crit skills you can get for a Fusilier, which you can get off, what's his face? Friggin' gun guy. Don't know why I can't remember anyone's names today. But yeah, he just comes with the entire set of Fusilier abilities. So, no problem there. Okay, I'm just gonna have this one go around. I got completely holed up in the middle here. And unfortunately that Amazon there just tends to stick herself in the middle and stay there. Alright, so we bring her back now. Have Denim go up and heal her. Now we should be good to go here. Now unfortunately, no matter what we do, neither Donalto nor what's their face, Felicia, who I literally named a character after, I can't even remember right now. Neither one of them will be terribly useful, so it doesn't matter which one we get. Usually I end up hiring Felicia, but we're not going to hire either of them this time around. They've got nothing that we need. Second go-around, though, they do have some useful skills. But for the time being, no. And as we get different abilities from different classes, like as we come back in New Game Plus and things like that, there will be some cases where we can get access to stuff that we shouldn't have yet. So in those cases, yeah, then we'll experiment with other classes. But we've just got the two that we want to use for now. I mean, mostly just the one, to be honest. We'll be doing Fusilier later. Probably go Lord on Denim at some point. Just barely shy. Oh well, keep popping this one. I don't think the shot can hit, actually. No, I guess it did. Come on, get past the middle. I mean, so far we're doing okay. Not good, but okay. Alrighty. Just miss. Oh, come on. Come on. Miss some of these low percentage hits. Absolutely love this intro, though. Like, this is such a good introduction to how the game actually plays. Alright, he's gonna be able to walk up and heal Sven Lady. And we are gonna get a full team of 12 as the game progresses. We don't need them yet. But we are going to be burning through resources like crazy. Alright, and so I was mentioning those other two grinds. I should probably get onto that as well. So, while at the moment we don't need them, do I have any heals? No. Just got 2 casts here. Tell you what. Well, we can still make use of them. I'll just do 22. Yeah, that's going to do 25. Never mind. Not as worth it as I thought. This is why I want to pick up Trajectory, because it would be good to know if I can hit them at this point. Ghost is coming up. I have a technically possible shot here. It doesn't finish them off, but it does prevent them from coming back for a little while. And it does get rid of all their MP, so that they're actually not able to attack for a turn. So just need one more swing on that Amazon, and we can finally get everyone through. Easy, not at all peasy. Okay. Yeah, Sven Lady doesn't even get to take a turn. That's how slow these guys are. They use a lot of heavy classes with a lot of heavy equipment in Time Math Hill. It's gonna make you feel better. But for all the rest of this, you gotta actually do this stuff. So we're out of revives. Unfortunately, yeah, I really should have taken the shot back at that Amazon now that I'm thinking about it. Alright, he decided to finally be helpful until he wasn't. Really wish she would miss more. Come on, we're close. We're very close now. Good. Attack him. That's fine. Shank, and the archers are free. Alright. Now we just rush her down. And all everyone else has to do is just chomp on leaves and get on through. If we take an injury here, that's fine. There's 2 places that I need to take injuries before we're able to farm elixirs. Elixirs are pretty freaking rare, but considering how much auto-grinding we're doing, I don't consider it to be a massive issue. Like, pretty much everything resource-wise, where once we get up to rank 6 at least, stuff's gonna get good. Because you can just leave most of Farampa on autopilot, and they're just gonna be just fine. So, in Farampa, I believe there's 3 maps that'll actually drop it. Just gonna take the shot. Probably should have gone for the heal, but didn't. Oh, Okay, he's not going to bother healing us at all. He's just going to bail. Thanks, Donato. Appreciate it. But anyway, that leaves... yeah, they're doing a good job covering themselves here. Thank you, 40%. Don't care about that. Yeah, they'll never heal, so we just need 3 shots. It's tempting, but I think we're gonna... Yeah, Evan might be able to take a hit, you won't. And thankfully, when leaving them on autopilot, they'll usually not be able to pick up the cards, but surprisingly, they will at least go for them, I'd say, about half the time. So, considering you're putting them through hundreds of fights, it'll at least give them some very small upgrades. It won't be anything mind-blowing, that's for sure. Oh, thank you, finally. Finally had a miss there. Alright, cheese stick. Crit me if you could. You crit it, you win it. Well, I guess you don't win it. But that's fine. Their little blocking archer moved out of the way. That's really about all we need. And this is why using archers exclusively is just not viable for this run. Their movement is just really, really bad. I mean, I want to use rogues for a good bit of it, but just... The whole warrior thing of having all those resistances is very handy. The whole rogue approach will be used for whenever speed's needed. Whenever some amount of durability. I say some because, again, at most they're going to take, like, 2 hits. So whenever we need, like, I don't know, a very minor chance to be able to survive 3... boo. That's when we'd be using warriors there. Very easy peasy. No injury-easy. Alright, so, for this fight, or for this chapter, rather, there's only 1 spot. Recruit? No. Yes, we won't see them again, that's fine. Skills-wise, she's got trajectory and bows. We can already get those. And yes, she includes in the no special units. This guy, just to show you, just hammers and divine. Again, not really anything we need. So anyone that doesn't have a scavengeable skill, I'm just going to leave behind. So, I'm going to go ahead and save that right there. We're going to go back, get paid. Oh yeah, those sweet paychecks. Now, more than likely, Golborza is where I was hoping to end it for today. It's very possible that we'll get there and the game will just say no. Because, well, it's kind of your second introduction. Oh, I should have... I should have picked up another unit. Forgot about that. Like, he's only at 4, but we're already going to start doing 1s to stuff at this point, so we get access to the AI menu. Fantastic. Now we're going to push left hard here. Why would I... Wait a minute. I remember there was some reason that pushing left was the better idea, so we're just going to push left. Because when routing it out, it came up pretty regularly. I remember getting a little bit stuck on this one. Apparently we're ending Game of Thrones early here, going sniping sands over there. And I really wish that spears had been able to keep up with scaling. It would have been nice to be able to have two different runs where spears were actually the optimal way to go. They just never get the love they deserve in Mitsuno games, quite frankly. Double crit. Not bad. Come on, triple crit. Almost. I say almost, having nothing to actually base that off of. But yeah, there's going to be a caster on either side. There's going to be far less units on the right side. Again, not entirely sure why I'm pushing left here, but the main goal is just to get rid of that healer in the back. This is one that, when doing that whole Scrooge challenge and all that kind of thing, ended up getting all the getting two-handers up on this guy, on the last boss of this one, just because he's an absolute beast in one vision. Alright, so caster needs to go away first. Gonna go ahead and give one heal here so we can survive one more round. There we go. He'll take the other injury away, or she'll take the other injury away. I forgot to turn Cashua into a squash for this one. I think we can survive without that. I have a feeling if I started messing with people's visuals, we'd get folks coming in like, "Oh man, you're going and cheating on this impossible run." Like, yeah, no, not really. Not for anything that matters, anyway. But then you call it a mod, and it's okay. It's okay. It's just that visual mod that totally exists. It's not technically wrong by definition, it's just a modification, but yeah. Anyway, Vice starts off unusually tanky, so he's gonna take whatever hits he needs to take over there. All your generics start off with pretty decently lower stat spread. Alright, finish him. Thank you. Pretty low odds, all things considered, but I will. And so yeah, once we unlock the whole AI thing here, the next time that we come in after this, we're gonna have everybody at rank 8. I'm not gonna like sit around and do 15 streams of just like, here, look, we're just gonna go do Tidemouth over and over. You can just assume that's what happened. We'll look at all the numbers afterwards. I'm sure there'll be retreats and everything else. The way that I personally prefer to do the whole auto grinding thing, because I hate that portion of the game, quite frankly. Surprisingly, the auto grinding in this though is still somehow more pleasant than War of the Visions. But still, it's I just prefer to just have it on autopilot, and then as soon as I leave the text off in most cases. But then as soon as I see anything start to come up, or I see any red counters going down, I just go and immediately bail on the fight and restart it. Because after they get rank 6, like I said, it shouldn't happen anymore. They can, like, even at where they are right now, they can get through most of Farampa. Just because Death Whale, the way the Death Whale works, it adds a flat damage to each of its 3 burst hits. So it'll basically scale up all your damage to a degree that it really technically shouldn't be able to. So even at worst case scenario, you're doing at least 20 per hit. Best case scenario, you're doing hundreds per hit. It's kind of funky how it works, but hey, if it works, it works. I'm not going to complain about it almost ignoring armor. It doesn't completely ignore it, but it gets there. It's pretty close. Not to mention, a lot of the times the AI seems... At level 1, for some reason the AI seems to love Flaming Blast a lot, so you tend to have some AI on your side as well. They pretty much exclusively go for Dark Weight under any other circumstances, but yeah, when they're at a severe level deficit, they seem to love using Charm. Again, not going to complain. It's accidental brilliance. I know that it isn't probably intended. It's probably some function of the damage. As far as debuffs go, I'm not sure what actual value they place on all of them, but they seem to value Leaden extraordinarily high. So, I don't know. Not sure what the story is there. But man, that calmness over there is suspicious. This is unusually quiet. Just sitting and watching our Dalmatians. Alright, Vice is out of here. So, like Gordon, I'm gonna get out of here. Because I'm gonna die. And that's how you ruin a joke. Yeah, for anyone that for some reason didn't get what the deal was with that. Yeah, it's supposed to be Flash Gordon. That's the joke. I kept listening to Flash Gordon in the background while routing this thing out, and just the whole King of the Impossible thing came up. Like, yeah, this has to be Flash Gordon as the main character. Which I guess is doubly ironic considering that this game's friggin' Hawkmen are based off of the Hawkmen from that, and we're going out of our way not to use them. There's only one Hawkman that you can actually recruit, and we've already fired him. So, there's that. Now that I think about it with Felseal, I wonder if Bizarro is... Wait, is his name Bizarro? Whatever, Bugman Batman. I wonder if he's actually meant to be the Canopus of that game. Because you only get one, and he's friggin' amazing, and gets unique classes. But, I guess technically speaking, the Vartan isn't unique in this. It just makes you think they're unique. I don't know. I have a feeling they eventually meant to give them a full, like, separate tree or something and just never got around to it. Alright, so we gotta get rid of the second caster, and then we gotta get rid of the third caster. Anybody that gets hit can functionally say their turn's over. Because we're gonna have to be farting out those heals. Yeah, I think at most we're probably going to be doing 5 to Sword Fighter Brezen that doesn't use a sword. This is when I find out I'm actually mixing him up with somebody else. But this is the guy that's labeled as Sword Fighter. He doesn't have a sword in either version. Yeah, he's Sword Fighter Brezen. Oh, I guess we're doing 8. Look at that luxury. I mean, man, we might as well just throw it in now. We got millions of damage going on. No, I don't know why I attacked that guy either. Leonard does a pretty good job. Just kind of clearing out the map in these fights. Pretty much anything he comes in on. Now, I should mention, part of the reason that this was rerouted to Law, the ideal would have still been neutral. You just get the most amount of units, almost all of them have anatomy, it's a good time. The screwy thing is, actually getting there is irritating. Because saving Sistina is obviously going to be a bit of a problem when you need to charge up most of your attacks. Being able to save the neutral trio is, again, almost impossible, considering you basically have to have everything line up just perfectly to be able to get a death whale on the leader. And yeah, that pretty much never happens. There was one kind of theoretical idea I had to make that happen, but it was never going to be something that was going to be super good. But the convenient thing is, Law gives you Saria, which actually gives you fire scaling, which means that we can have somebody actually specializing in a fire scaling crossbow. So, considering that's one of the only attack element options that we have, that's pretty snazzy. There are other things we could have potentially done, but in general, yeah, like you get a wind move on the dagger. It's okay. It's not like scaling it up will do that much. Alright, getting a little low on heals. Oh, we're gonna have enough to get through this. Especially because big boy Leonard here is just gonna go shanking all the unarmed people in the back, as he does. Because Leonard's all about those attacking defenseless peoples. What a douche. Except for in neutral. In neutral, he's mostly just comes across as doing whatever he has to do. It's on every other route that he comes off as a massive psycho. Man. Speaking of things coming off on other things, once again on the whole gotta go doo-doo on War of the Visions Parade a little bit more. So, I mentioned that the story was really, really bad. Like, the example that I like to use is it makes Axe Cop look like friggin' Shakespeare, but as far as how hard the tropes go, like, every time that you kind of get the sense of, like, oh, look, they're about to actually pull something that FFT or Tactics Ogre would have done. Like, for example, there's this one part where it's this whole big assassination plot and everything else, and they're about to get away with it. And, you know, like, if it was FFT or something, it would be the equivalent of the whole Orlando thing. It's like they end up putting in a body double, and they take out that guy, and they go take out all these, you know, all these high-ranking people and whatever else, and it's this whole big dramatic turn of events. Or, you know, in TO, you probably get around the end of Chapter 3 in Rhyme, where all these, you know, all of a sudden all the dynamic of power in the whole region shifts. So what they do in that one is, yeah, they have all these assassins, and everybody's assassinating everybody. So 2 of them don't even bother to just do their job, even. Another one just decides, you know what? They were trained from birth to kill this guy, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, I'm gonna protect you instead. Why? Aside from the fact that nobody could bother to make a stabbing animation, why? What's the plan there? They're completely surrounded. They have only one goal, and apparently only ever had that goal since birth. But I mean, it's just basically it doesn't thrive on the anime tropes as much as it, like, makes a full-blown swimming pool out of them and just dives head first. Like, you have every cringe thing you can possibly imagine on there. Like, copious giant boob ninjas, for example. Like, why? Like, most of it, honestly, I understand the whole thing, like, it's a mobile game, they gotta make stuff appeal to, well, you know, I'm pretty sure they're trying to make porn bait, but one of the things that makes me think that it was originally supposed to be an FFT-like thing first, and I used this example before, but like, one of the only spear-using characters, because you don't get generics, you only get named characters. They look like they should, based on their sprite and everything else, they look like they're, you know, like a standard FFT or Tactics Ogre kind of character. They're a little over-designed, but it's not too bad. Like, it's overly fantasy, but you can take them seriously, let's put it that way. Right? But then on that one, yeah, the sprite looks like that same thing, which it's not the case on all of them. Some of them just look unbelievably goofy. Like, one of the ones I started with was that green mage guy that just gets killed off friggin' in between scenes. He's just kneeling in one scene, and then he's just completely gone in the next. And then aside from that, he carries a box. Boy, what a character. Anyway, so let's go ahead and shank this dude real quick. So, what I was saying is, yeah, so in that one, yeah, their sprite looks that way. It's unusual because it's not that way for all of them. But then when you look at the actual, like, portrait and everything else, they seriously look like they have brain damage or something. Like, the whole drooling face kind of thing, the whole anime tropey thing. Just like, oh man, they're so love-struck or some crap, they're drooling or whatever. Basically that. It's like, did they smash their head in when they were taking their picture? What is this? It looks stupid. It's just this weird disconnect there. That's why I was hoping to figure out a way to record it to show you what I mean, because it's like it just, I don't know, it's the big one that sticks out to me. Again, you can't really do PvP stuff without running into constant, I don't know, I call them space boobs, but basically, it's just like this lady that, I kid you not, is just, their one and only move that they spam all the time literally involves an animation where they're doing the whole, what was that one movie? You know, the movie with the leg cross thing? They specifically try to distract somebody with a whole, like, check out my crotch thing. Basically, they're just doing that for their one and only move that people use them for. Just, why? Did you need that there? Is there any purpose to this, aside from just selling people? I know, I'm not the audience for this game, it just annoys me. More than it probably should. What I'm saying is I didn't really care for it. But oh well. Well, you know, whatever, we'll get to that later. Alright. Let's put you there, put you there, put you there. Alright, so far so decent. We've got one that might take an injury. Depends on if this works, actually. Do we have any stacked here? We've got Crackful, and... You know what? This could work. This will just do 4, but the next one should do a decent bit more than that. I think Denim might be able to actually go get them... No, actually Cerebro here can get them back up off their feet. Or on their feet. We've got the 1 stone here, that'll get them right back up. And there we are. Alright, now. Inta's 46, what about everybody else? Let's see, 46. Yes, I should have not Aerosol take that, is that you? Yeah. Oh, they didn't get the Averse. Okay, never mind. The plan was to make use of the, Averse. But yeah, if that didn't even land, we're just gonna knife, I guess. But see, this is when you'd want those extra ranks. They'd be doing 10 right now, as opposed to the nothing that they're doing currently. And then you get another one, suddenly they're doing 15, then 20, then they're just going all the way up to 50s and everything else. It just keeps scaling up. It's great. It's great. As long as they don't crit, we've got the numbers. That's not ideal, but we're still not on a... Yeah, we're still not on too bad of a countdown timer. As long as they don't heal this guy, we're alright. Right, now you start off with 2 wines, whether you want them to or not. So that'll do a pretty okay job. You definitely see more effect out of Breach early on. Like right now, that gives them a couple extra damage. Weirdly enough, that also seems to affect these in some cases. I don't know why I took the worst attack either. We are kind of locked in at the moment, though. Because, unfortunately, Mr. Dude Guy will keep trying to heal instead of anything else right now. Alrighty. Good. Yeah, debuffs will almost never miss us, by the way. Fall goes well, we should just barely be able to do this. Come on, crit, please. No. She's just gonna heal again. Again, even if she's locked down, as long as that's happening. Nice. He ran out of MP, which makes this possible. And come on, Blessing Stone. Buys us more time. Yes, okay, we got 3 of them. Yeah, we got this in the bag then. ideal, but could be worse. Just a little more to go now. Alright, Spark Sphere, best damage you can do right now. Once we get Spark Sphere 2, that's something we're going to want to stockpile. It's going to be functionally the rocket launcher of this run. Alright, just a few more. It's possible we'll be able to save those Blessing Stones, actually. Yeah, it's very possible. Until he suddenly randomly pulls out a heal. I want to say he's limited to 25 heals, though. Alright, 3 more shots. If they roll high. Interestingly, one of the only dagger and crossbow builds you see in the entire game. They pretty much never use hybrids. Alright, I don't think the revive can reach... Or, no, it can. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna get Cheese Stick up. Wizard Linton gone. And in future fights, we'll definitely be making more use of actually collecting cards and things. I was really hoping for a crit there. Ah, well. Just kind of figure we might as well at this point. And there we go. That'll be the finish. And yes, he'll know peace and pincushion. Poor guy was just covered in arrows. And once again, nobody gets any experience. And so there we go, that is AI unlocked, so at this point we can basically just go back to Tynemouth indefinitely. Just keep resetting it every time that they go down or are about to clock out. So what I'm going to do is essentially just do exactly that. I'm going to go hire a few more units here. Let's see, who's got the best decks? Seems like this one. Well, anyway, I will go ahead and hire a few more then. We'll figure out how all that goes. We'll just grind the hell out of these guys, get crossbows to 8, daggers to 8, and that's about all that we can really do for now. Just stock up on stones, stock up on items, stock up on buffs and debuffs, as well as spark spheres. Which, yeah, if you basically get a bunch of spark spheres out, get everybody on fire reverse, get an AoE like Brimstone Hail that's actually scaled up to some degree off that, it's like the kind of interactions you can get are pretty interesting. But either way, that'll be that for now. I will see you guys whenever we continue this, and yeah, I think tomorrow we'll probably be doing some Fell Seal. Getting a little bit farther on that. And alright, thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you